Hey guys, it's Warbaby, and today we're going to be going through a game I played this evening. I'm in my Object 430U, which is one of the tier 10 Russian medium tanks. We're top tier on fjords from the western spawn, and generally if I'm in a tank like the 430U, which has some form of armor, and especially since I'm top tier, I like to go play right in this ridge over there. There's cover from the 8 and 9 line from the eastern spawn, who tend to go up there, so they can't fire at you from behind. And there's some rock cover from these guys shooting you here. There's also some artillery cover, although if they do get wide over there, they can shoot you. I put a snapshot into the T92. I was reasonably sure that would hit. And then right here, I try and go for the T92 again. He decides to go for a swim. Right here, I make a bit of a misplay. I'm thinking that I'm not in a position where the I-7 can shoot me, and lo and behold, he puts one into my lower plate. But that's fine. I poked a bit too far. Gonna try not to make the same mistake again. Right here, me and the T10 are both in the same position, so I'm sort of thinking, this is generally only, even though it looks like there's a lot of space, there's generally only room for one tank, so I was a bit apprehensive at this point. You'll see here, I kind of, since the T10 drives back, I, drive forward and try to side scrape against this I7. That bounces, so I retreat, and this T10 gets hit. I'm not sure how, and he decides to... I thought he was going to shoot me here, ended up not shooting me, but for some reason it's my fault, so that's okay. We'll see later on that he's, even without XVM, we'd be able to tell that he's not a very good player because he dies very early on in a very stupid manner. At this point, I completely forgot I was lit. Proxy spotted by the Lorraine 40T up there, which means I take a shot from the standard B, which I really shouldn't have done. I should have thought and remembered that I was still proxy spotted. So right now I'm sort of stuck in the middle of no man's land. I try to put a shot into the 430's lower plate, doesn't go through. Very chancy shot. My gun really isn't that accurate, and if I don't hit the lower plate, it's not going in. So right here, I'm thinking about what to do. I'm aware that if I do get proxy spotted somehow by the Lorraine, which shouldn't happen because he's currently behind cover, then the people in the north are going to shoot me. I probably shouldn't go and support the Scorpion G and 257 there, because if I do that, the convoy over there is probably going to shoot me. So right now, I'm sort of waiting, seeing how things develop. I think at this point, I realize that there's not much to do just by looking north, so I'm going to turn around and go back to where I was, back to where the T10 and the two medium tanks are. So at this point, we've pretty much lost the south. They haven't pushed around the corner, but it's a 4 versus 2, and these guys right here who I'm coming to support are getting pinned. The T10's going to die any moment now. I put a shot into the Tiger 2. I wasn't sure if I was going to get spotted, but I do. I think that's because the two trees weren't solid cover. At this point, the two artillery are both going to drop shells on me, which is frustrating, but I have HP at this point, so I wasn't too worried, and I just wanted to put a shot into this Tiger 2 or VK. You can see that didn't pay off, because not only did I take that extra artillery shot, which I could have avoided, but I didn't even pen the VK. So at this point, I'm doing my best to try to get behind this rock. The T10's dead now, so I don't have anyone to compete with. Even though I'm stunned, I'm going to try put some shots into the T10 because I want to take him out. He's got one of the only guns which can damage me if he fires premium shells straight through my upper plate. At this point, I see the map, and I see that we're losing the sort of northeastern corner, and I'm getting a bit worried because we only have 2 tier 8 tanks over there, whereas they have a tier 9 also reloader and 2 tier 8s. Put a shot into the standard B, and I get shot with high explosive by the VK, which is annoying. I should have saw this coming, and he also took out my loader. So this puts me in a tricky situation because I don't have any DPM to be able to carry my team through. So I do as a result, I have been firing gold rounds for a while, but I made the decision to not switch back to AP rounds because since my reload is so bad now, at least for another 25 seconds, I need to be able to pen every shot I shoot. So at this point, I'm thinking, why hasn't the Lorraine been taken care of? And this WZ light tank is a hero because he, takes a chance of being shot once or twice by a VK high explosive shell, which would probably have penned him, and he manages to take the Lorraine out, which means I will no longer be proxy spotted. That artillery happened to have XVM, which meant that I was getting focused, which is just how it is. That's what I get for being a reroll. put a nice shot into the low plate of the i7. Since I'm shooting heat, it means that there's a, I have more pen, so that shot really should be going in 9 times out of 10. I'm not too worried about the 430U and standard B in the north, because they're going straight towards our cap when we have no one there. They don't know that, so they're going to be preoccupied for 1 or 2 minutes. Instead, I'm going to look for a shot on the convoy. However, at this point, I sort of have a brain fart. I forget I have heat loaded, so I put one straight into his tracks, which just gets eaten up, so I don't do any damage to him. Thankfully, I believe he gets taken out by the 277 with a ram. Yep. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, the 430U is probably going to, drive up, and there he is. I'm thinking the Scorpion G is going to be somewhere there as well, but he turns out he's in the corner. I tried to put a shot into him, misses. That's the accuracy of this gun. I didn't get spotted. Yeah, so at this point I was trying to put a shot into the Scorpion G because I think the 430U was behind a rock and a corpse. I get lit here, and I really don't want to die because I'm a one-shot to both of those tanks, so I'm just looking for a shot at either one of them. I eventually settle on the Scorpion G. But do I? No. The 430U drives out in the open, he fluffs a shot, which means that I have time to aim, so I put one into his lower plate. And at this point, I'm also very worried about the standard B, and there he is. So I turn my tank as quickly as I can, and at this point, there's no way he can pen me with AP because I'm hiding my lower plate. The only parts of armor I'm showing are my upper plate and my turret, neither of which he's going to pen, even if he hits the cupolas of my turret, which aren't actually weak spots. So now it comes to the part which is pretty much the entire reason I made this replay. It's going to be a very, very good example of micromanagement. It's going to end up becoming a 1 versus 3. This 430U starts pushing up, and I see that. I am a tiny bit worried, but at the same time not too worried, because I know the Scorpion G and standard B are both 2 shots, which means that if I bully them, if I drive forward and be aggressive and face hug them, I shouldn't be killed. So I fluff a shot on the 430U, which is annoying. See the Scorpion G coming behind. I try and use the corpse as cover, which works. And I'm aware that any moment now the standard B is probably going to be driving in. There he is. He actually made a misplay by driving down into the lake, which means that I'm able to drive around, kill the 430U. At this point, I was a bit hesitant about engaging the Scorpion G, but I decided to do it because it's just too risky with the standard B following me. I put a shot into the Scorpion G, tried to ram him to death, but that doesn't work, so I reversed to put the Scorpion G between myself and the standard B. The standard B puts a shot into me, but since this is the 430U, I managed to bounce around. So now it's a 1 versus 1. I'm not going to ram him because I'm worried that if I do ram him too fast, he'll do damage to me. So at this point, I'm just face-hugging him because I know there's no way he'll be able to pen me. Put one final shell into him, and then we go. And, that's the whole reason I made this replay, was because of that micromanagement. I think a lot of players would have made a mistake into not pushing into the 430U and Scorpion G hard enough, and they would have been flanked by the standard B. I knew that he is an auto-reloader, so he was going to have at least 2-3 shells to shoot into me. At this point, we get the finishing kill on the IS-7, and that is a good game. So I guess the most important things I'm trying to highlight is that you need to be constantly looking at the minimap. I wouldn't have been able to get out of that situation if I hadn't been looking at the minimap every 2-3 seconds, because when you're on such low health and it's late game in those sort of situations, you need to do everything you can in order to stay alive. So in this instance, I realized that the likelihood of them penning me was very, very low if I face-hugged them, which is what I did with the Scorpion G and Pantera. I got a bit lucky with them not being able to pen me, but generally if you rush people with a pretty heavily armored tank with only the lower front plate as a weak spot, they're not good. They're going to start panicking and not going to hit it. So I hope you all enjoyed this video with regards to micromanagement, and pay attention for the next video coming out. Thank you. Bye-bye.